Okay, hello everyone. I'm here on my computer. I'm running Manjaro Linux, by the way. It's a pretty good distro. But that's beside the point. Today we're going to be installing Python locally, and hopefully by the end of this video we should be able to run Python 3 version, and see you got Python 3.9, and you should also be able to do pip 3 version pip 20.2.2, yeah, installed. And you should also be able to run Python scripts like this if you do. If we just do this, and then we run, you should be able to do this. I mean, of course, I'm on Linux, so you won't be able to enter these exact commands, but on Windows you should be able to do a similar thing. So let's get to it. Now, up until now, we've been using something called REPL.it. And it's an online development environment. So what that means is we're basically communicating with a cloud server, and it's basically all our files are stored on the cloud. That's not always the best idea, especially if you're willing to do like things with packages, and you want maybe you want to sync with a Git repository. That's kind of hard to do on REPL, and also maybe you need some extra features that aren't on REPL, and you have no choice. Also, you actually can't. I mean, you can, but it's very hard to use REPL for the CCC, the Canadian Computing Competition, which is coming up this February. You can't actually use this. You can't actually use REPL very easily without downloading a zip file and then unpacking the zip file and then publishing it. It's much easier to just do everything on your computer and then upload it when you're ready. So I'm actually going to go through doing this on Windows, Linux, and unfortunately I can't demo this on Mac OS because I don't own an Apple computer, but I can. But I will link some commands that you can paste into your terminal and install Linux. Install Python from there. So let's get started. I have this Windows virtual machine here, which I will install Python on. And let's get to it. So first thing you need to do is open like a web browser. I'm just using the defaults here. And visit python.org. This is the official Python website. This is where you can find documentation. You can find a forum. You can find Python news, events, blah blah blah. Most importantly for us, this is the download page, which we can download it from here. You would want to click this button. I already downloaded it over here. I think it downloads. Yes. So just double click on that. Yeah, I already installed it, so I'm just going to uninstall it. You shouldn't do this. I mean, you won't have to do this. I'm going to install it all over again. I already installed it. Let's just wait for this to finish. Okay, so now I'll click on this. This is the Python installer. Now immediately when you get to this page, you want to click this checkbox. This is very important to be able to use Python from the command line, because otherwise you'll just be stuck using idle, and it's a very bad situation to be in. That happened to me a few years ago, and it was pretty frustrating. I didn't know what happened. Just click this, make sure it's clicked, otherwise you have to reinstall Python, and it's not fun. Then you just click install now, and Python will do the rest. You just have to wait, and then it will install. Okay, and here it goes. So Python is installed now. We can click close. And to test that it's actually installed, we can open the search bar and open up a command prompt. And we want to test. We can access Python from the command line. So type in Python 3 minus minus, or I don't know what it's called. I think dash. Yeah. Anyway, the minus character on your keyboard twice, and version. And what? Yeah. Okay. Apparently you don't have to put the 3 there. That's weird. I thought you had to. I think that's just for Unix systems. If you're on Mac or Linux, you have to put 3 over there. But on Windows, apparently it breaks if you do that. So just do that, and it should output your Python version here. If it doesn't output your Python version and it gives an error, then please feel free to DM me on Discord or on Teams, and I'll help you figure this out. Or you can just reinstall Python and make sure to click the checkbox again. Now you also should make sure that Pip is working. Now what Pip is, it's Python's package manager. And this won't be very important for us in our use case for a while, but in the future when you want to install packages and extra third-party libraries, you want this installed. So just check if it's installed. It's not a big deal for now if it's not installed, but yeah, you can see it should output this. Okay, great. Now it didn't just when we install Python, it didn't just install just this command line tool. On Windows, I believe it also installs some nice tools that you can use Python with, which is idle. Now what idle is, it's like a very bare bones IDE, which you can use to build Python script. Basically, it's much more bare bones than something like REPL, but it can be useful if you just want to edit something quickly without having to worry about big things or whatever. Yeah, so just that, you can enter anything in here. This is called a shell. So just enter any command in here to see if it works. And you see it should output hello world here. And this means it's working. Now, you can actually tell that we aren't actually working with a file here. This is just, yeah, it's just basically a shell. So if you want to actually create a file, you click File and then New File. This will give you an empty file in here, and which you can save it anywhere you want. I'll save it on my desktop as main.py, and it should appear. Yes, right here. And we can make a small test program to see if it works. Like this should work. Now, of course, we could just go in the command line and execute it from here, but what's cool about idle is you can just run the file easily just by doing this, just by going into the run drop down and clicking run module. Like this, it runs our program perfectly. You can also press F5 to run the module, meaning the file. Yeah, Python likes to be weird like that. But you can run everything super fast, just press F5. And that is super handy. Okay, now, if you are on an Ubuntu-based distribution, or just Debian-based distribution, like Kali Linux, Zorin OS, basically 99% of Linux distributions, unless you're on Arch like me, in which case, an Arch-based distribution, in which case you do sudo pacman/s python 3. On Ubuntu-based distributions, you should already have Python on here. You just can't run it with just Python. If you try to enter the same command as on Windows, your get Python not found, because on Ubuntu and on Linux, it actually Python goes by the name Python 3. So this, if we try Python 3 version, now it should work. Yeah, I was a bit confused when I tried it on Windows. Apparently it's different, but I didn't know that. Now I do. Yeah, just it should come already installed on most Linux distributions. If it's not, you should do sudo apt install Python 3, and it should work. Of course, it did nothing here because it's already installed. Now, unfortunately, Ubuntu doesn't come with pip. So if you try to do pip, it doesn't work. If we do pip3, it doesn't work. This is optional, of course, but if you want to actually get it set up on Kali Linux or Ubuntu, you'll have to enter a few commands to get pip working. So first, enter sudo add apt repository universe, and it's going to add the repository. It's going to take a while, maybe, but there we go. Yeah, there we go. And then just sudo apt get update. This should also take a while, but there it goes. It's finished. And now we can do sudo apt install Python 3 pip. And then click yes. And then it's going to install pip. Sorry if the font is small. It's going to take a while, of course. This is downloading all the pip packages. So there we go, it's installed, and now we should be able to run pip3 version. And here it goes, it's done. So I guess that's about it. Yeah, on Linux, you should be able to test that it works with a file. You can enter the Python shell like you did on Windows using idle. Like the equivalent on Windows, you would just open idle and you have the shell here. If you want the shell on Linux, Ubuntu, or like any other distribution, you type in Python 3 and here it goes. You have the same thing. It's just in a terminal. So yeah, this is basically it. You've got a basic Python environment set up here. You can use, of course, you can use like a text editor and just create a file. Like I have main.py created here and just run. It should work just fine. You can run a file. You can run a Python file like this on Linux, and on Windows you can actually do the same, but it's not very convenient. You need to go with this, and you need to cd to the desktop. And like this, it works the same way, just not as convenient as, yeah, you could do it like this. Anyway, so I think this wraps up the video about setting up Python. Basically, it's installed on Linux and on Windows. Of course, as I said, I will be posting a command that you can just copy and paste into your terminal, and it should work. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Goodbye then.